Coffee? I can't bring all the boys breakfast in bed now.
Two very different wake-up calls. Hey everybody, and welcome to another movie night. I'm Jackie, and today we are watching Masters of the Air Episode 6. Am I ever gonna get a break from crying in this series? The last few episodes have been heavy. But I do see from the thumbnail Miss Belle Powley, who I have noticed from the opening title sequence that I've been curious when we're going to see her. But I have heard from you guys that this is still difficult to watch, and if my guess is correct, I can understand why. So, we're going to get into this. As always, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode, on this series. Hearing a lot of the history, it's incredibly fascinating to me and has made this experience a lot more special. Redder is better, so hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button depending on your browser, and check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction as well as all of my other content. Links to my Instagram and other socials are in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and let's get into Masters of the Air Episode 6. I'm really nervous for this episode. If this is what I think it's gonna be, I'm very nervous for it. I am assuming we're following Egan. Bucky. Yep, hello, Bucky. This is such a long take. Just holding. Just waiting for any noise. Oh, this feels so Band of Brothers right now. The ambient noise in the handheld camera. Ah, Scheiße. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Oh, this music. Bum, bum. God, they know how to do drama on this show. Hide, 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 hide. Okay, okay. The build and then the drop. Oh my god.
Americana?
Oh, this is shot so beautifully. Oh my god, the camera right on the... Oh my god, I can't... this is... Oh, this is gorgeous. The fact that his eyes were covered right there, that's... Oh. Ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so sorry that he was caught, but oh my god, that whole sequence. Oh, I want to send flowers to the cinematographers. Oh my god. Oh. Nobody can say this show isn't getting better and better and better. Like, I've stood by it from the beginning, but oh, it's building. And again, I've said this because that's the way that they've designed the narrative, and they lean into the drama and they build and they build and they build. And the fact that the entire series parallels that structure and that it just gets more and more intense. And, oh my god. Oh, I love this so much. I love this so much. I love this so much. I'm just, oh, it's gorgeous. This score, like, I will stand by this series. I don't care what anybody says. I will stand by this series. This series is spectacular. I don't care what anybody says. I will stand by it. It's spectacular. Yeah, no, it's spectacular. Yep. Crosby crying. I can't with Crosby crying. I don't want to cry again.
When a crew went down, they disappeared.
Yeah.
But until 32 of the 35 original crews were among the missing. We did not talk about such crews.
Oh god, the warped vignetting and the... Oh, that's so cool!
Those of us who continued to fly mission after mission had to tiptoe around their ghosts.
Oh, what a line.
Some of the men were coming undone. Some people drank. Some people fought. Some people slept around. If you got a chance to forget, you took it.
Yeah.
It arrived for you 2 days ago. I hope it's nothing urgent.
My wife.
And we call them subalterns.
Subaltern.
Subalterns.
Cool.
Right. Well, thank you for the tour.
How strange, how unnerving, how it must be to go from flying missions to this. I can't even imagine. Oh dear. Wait. Wife? Belpelli. I know it's not Belpelli, but he is a... something tells me he's about to cheat on his wife. Oh, is there enough bubbles for me? She doesn't know. Don't do this to me. For the record, I'm not judging Crosby. I literally said you find whatever solace you can.
Munster was only Rosie's third mission, but it was so horrific that Colonel Harding ordered Lieutenant Rosenthal and his crew to spend a week of R&R at a place we called the Flak House.
Jews from Brooklyn don't ride horses.
Unless they're J. Robert Oppenheimer. Oh, but he's not from Brooklyn. He's from Manhattan.
We have all the sports and activities you could ask for. Tennis, bicycles, volleyball, croquet, riding with hounds. Relaxation is the order of the day here.
I don't even know how to...
Francie, how long do I have to be here?
Have to be. Yep, I was gonna say the contrast of this.
We have baths here. Take advantage while you can is my advice.
Yeah, but you don't know, but you haven't been yet. Oh god. I have a feeling the word for this episode is gonna be contrast. Horrifying contrast. Yep, yeah, very, very horrifyingly sneaky. Nope, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad.
When we get a chance, you think you can run on that ankle?
I don't think so. Ruhe da hinten!
Your life is gonna depend on it. Not that it matters. Oh, the silhouetting! Oh, this is gorgeous. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm fucking terrified right now.
Zusammenbleiben!
That violent.
Think our boys did this?
Pulsing. Every single moment the music is playing, there's a pulsing.
RAF. Brits actually hit something for once. Los! Zusammenbleiben. All right.
God, these heavy, ominous drums this episode. Oh my god. God, there's still people that just... Stop pulling children out of buildings! Please stop pulling children. Please stop pulling children out of rubble. Please stop pulling children out of rubble.
Tauflieger! Amerikanischer Feiglinge!
Oh, that's scraping. Oh my god.
Verdammte Amerikaner! Ihr Dreckskerne! Beine! Ihr habt uns alles genommen!
Lass sie für sich selbst sorgen! Gut!
Oh shit. Oh my god, he ran out of bullets. Oh my god.
Dr. Houston?
Fucking contrast. Fucking contrast.
Robert Rosenthal.
Yes. How did you sleep last night?
Fine.
Fine. I don't believe you.
I don't think this environment is helpful for me.
The static shot,
like
this
to
is so
return to base.
interesting. The dark on one side, the light on the other.
Why do you think your CO sent you here? No, I'm curious. What do you think?
There was a mission in the Munster. It was rough, but I'm fine.
3 missions in your first 3 days. 120 men dead in one afternoon.
I wasn't one of them. I'm fine.
You know what FINE stands for? Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
You're not gonna let me leave, are you?
Sure I am. In 5 days.
We keep coming back to this exact shot. Yep. Contrast. Dark on one side, light on the other. Yep. Nope. They should have called this episode Contrast. We had the earlier one that was foreshadowing. Oh my god. Stop, stop, stop. I can't. No, no. Stop, 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 stop.
Mach ihn fertig.
Burying them. Yeah.
Ja.
He's gonna break for it. Now's your chance.
Lass ihn gehen. Kommt nicht weit.
And he only survived because he ran out of bullets. Literally sheer chance. God, this drum. Every single second. It's like a horror movie. Yeah, the fact that he specifically said any way that you can...
Captain Crosby, I presume.
my god.
Bell Valley!
Don't worry, I've seen men in much less, Captain.
You're...
Subaltern Westgate, your roommate.
Oh my god!
You expected a man, didn't you?
No.
Yeah.
The ATS encourage us to conceal our feminine names, hence A.M. Westgate.
Yeah.
Sandra for short. And the M is for a middle name I shall take to the grave.
Sir.
Well, I'm not bothered if you're not. I can see that you're married. Hopefully your wife trained you to leave the toilet seat down.
I love her already.
In the mirror, was that Tracy or Gable?
Tracy.
I would have thought Gable.
She's adorable, I love her. The fucking lighting. Oh, his cheek is wet. Can't blame him. Oh god. Oh, the light. Well, these men aren't gonna kill him outright. Huh. Back of the car is a far cry from the back of the truck. Prisoner of war camp, yeah. I had a feeling this is where we were going.
There are 3 problems with these bloody Americans. He said they're oversexed, overpaid, and over here.
Oh, Captain Crosby. What is it the Yanks say the trouble with we Britons is?
Please tell us.
We are undersexed, underpaid, and under Eisenhower.
You Americans are a bit zestier in your approach to the opposite sex. As young men, we would never have dreamt of trying to top a debutante. We turned to chambermaids and barmaids for our excitement.
Classy.
Chambermaids and barmaids feel they have no right to say no to their employers. But American men are persistent regardless of class. They'll pretty much top anything that moves.
Each day could be their last chance to live it up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I won't be giving them a lecture before they go on their weekend pass.
Attaboy, Crosby.
I'm not cocky enough to be a pilot, but you are a captain, so navigator, bombardier.
Navigator.
Yep. She's good.
Promise not to tell anyone.
I pinky swear.
Not entirely sure what that means, but sounds official. I'm a punter.
A punter?
Been punting since my days at Cambridge.
I was gonna say, is this what I think it is? Companionship?
Oh dear. Amateurs. Took me years to master the pole.
The pole.
You've never actually punted before, have you?
What gave me away?
You're a terrible liar.
Because isn't punters the sort of British term for Johns? Am I crazy? It's too quiet. Too normal, too comfortable. There aren't dozens of other men in the room. Yeah. It's a bed, not a cot. God, that's just the contrast. Just...
I see you're still sleeping well.
What's your excuse?
Doctors can't have nightmares.
Oh. I feel like doctors can have more than anybody.
Where are you stationed, Doc?
Norfolk. I'm a flight surgeon with the 96th.
Your group was on the Bremen raid with us.
We lost 3 forts. That was your first mission?
Lost a good friend. His first mission, too.
This war. Human beings weren't meant to behave this way.
You see people being persecuted, subjugated, you have to do something, right?
He's Jewish.
Here we are.
No, this right here, this is exactly what you don't do. You don't go talking about it. You don't go crying about it. You get back in the seat and you finish the damn job.
That's one mentality. Very traditional.
I was in a rhythm. You know? 3 days, 3 missions, 3 wheels down. Boom, boom, boom. And you don't stop Gene Krupa in the middle of a drum solo. Or 2 weeks later, ask him to dip right back in where he left off without missing a beat.
Yeah.
Gene Krupa's got to think about more than keeping his own rhythm. He's responsible for the rhythm of his whole band, isn't he?
I can play your metaphor.
In Scotland, we believe whiskey should never be diluted. Cheers.
Okay.
Atta girl.
If you don't polish it off, someone else will.
Fair enough.
Geographically speaking, they're much closer than yours, but they still feel very, very far away sometimes.
There's just so much we can't tell them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed, and because even
How could they possibly understand?
Just go easy. And Bubbles invented this game with quarters and boots. And basically, I ended up with no quarters and no boots. But the last thing I remember is spewing in the bathroom with Bubbles. And there was only one toilet.
Oh, sounds very romantic.
No, it's my best friend. Bubbles is just a nickname.
Well, what we all need in life is someone to heave with, shoulder to shoulder. He must be a good friend.
Oh, he was, yeah.
He was.
He went down last week. It was my fault. I replaced Bubbles as group navigator. If he'd have been there to plan the missions, then maybe all those planes wouldn't have went down.
It's not your fault.
Your friend was on that plane for one reason. Because Adolf Hitler and his gang of thugs decided they should rule the world.
Yeah.
That's the only reason anybody dies in this war.
I knew I liked her.
Major Egan, come in. I am your interrogator, Lieutenant Hausmann.
Oh dear.
Please, sit.
Don't say interrogator so friendly-like.
Can I pour you a whiskey?
Oh my god. Ingratiate. Jeez.
Are you a baseball fan, Major? There was the big championship last week.
We were up 2-1 when I went down.
So you are a Yankees fan. Would you like to know the outcome
We
of
were
the
up.
World Series?
This is slippery. I don't like it.
Was Bucklevin a Yankees fan?
I knew I didn't like him.
I hear he was quite a flyer.
I don't like this.
He was your friend, wasn't he?
Was. He keeps saying was.
Did you know that on your Münster attack, only one of your planes returned?
Sadist.
But we don't have you in any record as a crew member on any of the planes from the Münster attack. The Gestapo would say that makes you a spy.
Hmm.
The Gestapo is never mistaken.
I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it.
John Egan, Major. 0399 510.
Stubborn mother forker. Bless you.
Me, I'm like you, a flyer. And I can understand things in a way my colleagues from the highly indoctrinated security forces might not.
Oh, you're good. You slippery little bastard.
The number of replacement B-17s expected at Thorpe Abbotts next week, for example.
No.
John Egan, Major.
Good man, Bucky. It's gonna cost him, but good man. Respect. The drawings on the wall. The difference in accommodations. The contrast in accommodations.
Coffee? Just don't tell anyone. I can't bring all the boys breakfast in bed now. I'm glad you slept.
I don't think she's as oblivious as they might think. She's been here for a while. I think she's seen. I think she knows. Two very different wake-up calls. He's helping the other men. Good man, Bucky. Redder is not better in this instance. I would like that on record. Oh my god, are those Jews? Oh my god. Yeah, the other train was going to a concentration camp.
Now, is there a reason you want to tell me where you're stationed or what you do?
Yes. And if I wanted to think about work tonight, Captain, I would have gone to Sherry Owl with Professor Goodhart.
Touché!
There's a great and a bloody fight round this whole world tonight. The battle, the bombs and shrapnel rain.
Crosby has a crush, and I cannot say I blame him.
I could see all the people in this whole wide world. That's the union that'll tear the fascists down, down, down. If it takes them to tear the fascists down.
But I guess this is good night.
Is it?
Did you forget that we're roommates?
Oh, yeah, I think I did, actually.
Subaltern, an urgent message.
Oh dear.
I have to leave.
But now?
Indeed. Next time you're in London, if you're lucky, I might even teach you to punt.
What about your things?
They'll send them.
That's not your bicycle.
I'm borrowing it.
Whatever it is, it's urgent enough.
Don't you sleep?
After we win!
I like her. I find it really interesting that interrogation officer kept asking about Buck. Why is he so curious about someone who's supposedly dead?
One by one, we see everybody go down. And then we hear it.
Yeah, that was horrifying. That was straight out of a horror movie. Horrifying.
I gotta say, hearing his voice over the radio, that was the first time that I didn't feel scared shitless, even though he clearly lost his fucking marbles. I knew that I wasn't alone.
Hello, Lazy Fox. This is G for George. We're calling Lazy Fox.
They put their heads together and they think as fast as they can because this thing wasn't going to be staying up in the air for very much longer. I hear you, G for George. Now here are your instructions. Our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Please.
Tall tales, music, laughter, good Irish whiskey. We all needed something to help us climb back into that plane and do it all again.
Rosie's Riveters. Why the swastikas? Searchers. How do you get back in? Do I hear sing, sing, sing? No, not quite. Oh! Okay, respect for that. Oh my god, the fact that we just built that up and you expect it to keep going and then it just stops. Just cut you off at the knees.
Bucky! Over here! Bucky! Over here! Over here! Bird! You made it! Merv! How do you know if Buck made it? What? I said John Egan, you're 2 o'clock.
There he is! Fucking knew it.
Took you so long.
It's huge. October 1943. I was wondering why he was so curious about Buck if supposedly Buck Cleven was dead. We all knew it. We all knew it. We all knew it. I have a feeling this is about to get really bad. This is okay. All right, this subverted my expectations a little bit. They set it up that we expected Crosby and Belle Powley, I forget her, Belle Powley. They set up that we were going to have a thing between the two of them, and the fact that he specifically said, like, you cope however you can, and I know it was incredibly common. You're gone from your spouse for years at a time on both sides. Things happen. Obviously, you don't go into it thinking that's something you're going to do, but they definitely set that up and subverted it. That was interesting, and I appreciate it because I think that would have been the obvious way to go, and I don't know. Again, this is obviously based on history. This is based on Crosby's book, so I don't know how much artistic license is taken. But from a sort of story perspective, I really enjoy that they subverted that. I really enjoy that instead of going that direction, they made it just a really nice, pure moment of two people supporting each other and being there for each other. And just, I kept thinking during the scene when they're sitting in front of the fireplace drinking and talking, we've all sort of had nights like that where you're having these late night conversations with someone. It could be with one person, it could be a friend, it could be a significant other, but you're up late, maybe you're drinking, and you have these very personal moments and these incredible connections. And it doesn't have to be a sexual thing, it doesn't have to be anything more. It's just this very pure moment of connecting with another person. And I enjoyed that. On the one hand, I kind of liked that we didn't know anything else about her because it didn't matter. It really, neither of their functions in the war really mattered except the fact that they came together and were able to have that connection as people, not as soldiers, not as uniforms, not as navigators or pilots or anything else, just people. And I was thinking about that for a second. I was like, do I like that or do I not? Because the fact that we didn't know more about her kind of makes her as a prop as a character, but it didn't. The more I think about it, the more I actually enjoy that because she's a person, not a uniform. Their experience was as people, and it didn't really matter what either of them was going to go off to do after those conversations. It was just what existed in those moments. And I enjoyed that. I liked that. I liked that a lot, and I'm glad we got that. But at the same time, the contrast in this episode, and this is one of those, again, positive comparisons I'll make to Band of Brothers, because Band of Brothers had every single episode from a different perspective. And considering the sort of repetitive nature of air battles, they've done a really great job in this series of finding new perspectives. And so taking an episode like this and focusing on contrast, the difference in experiences of one, we've talked about up to this point, how strange it is for these airmen to go through these battles and then come home to hot beds and to society and to try to find the balance between that. And so hearing Rosie talking about how he didn't want to be there, he just wanted to immerse and stick to it, and he didn't want to come back and forth. And I understand that perspective. I really do, because sometimes it can be really hard once you've got that momentum going. Breaking it and then trying to come back can be really, really hard. And so the balance of which is better. And I think the doctor pointing out that, yeah, but it's not just about you. And you have to take care of yourself for other people. And I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. Again, there's so many different experiences and people cope in different ways. For him, it was very much just, no, I want to be stoic and I just want to get my job done. But for him to see another man who needed the time privately to cry and to process that differently, there is no one right answer. And so I think showing the different experiences and Crosby talking about that each man needed something different is very relevant. But then juxtaposing that with Bucky's experience heading into a prisoner of war camp and the very specific contrast of things like accommodations, the differences in the rooms, the way that they're treated, the way that they are going through the time. It just was a really great way to frame those experiences. Individually on their own, those are both incredibly complex, emotional, intense experiences. And had they chosen to have one episode be one and one episode be the other, it would have been fine. It would have still told the story. But when you put two polar opposite things next to each other, it shows them in such stark contrast that you feel the weight of each of them harder. When you are going from cozy and nice and lovely to cold and brutal, when you're going back and forth, it just yanks you in different directions and it pulls your emotions up and down and up and down. And it's a lot more effective in a story situation like this. So this was so well done. And again, just brutal, and putting the two moments, the moment of pure humanity that Crosby got to experience and that Rosenthal is experiencing, with people having a moment of relief, with the worst in what Bucky is experiencing and being treated as less than human, and literally people trying to kill him in a war crime, essentially, and bury him without a care, and then him being put into a prisoner of war camp. again, the contrast of those two experiences was just so well put together. And I stand by, this is beautifully shot. I loved that shot of Rosie when he's trying to talk to the doctor, because it was a static shot that we kept coming back to. We would frame them slightly differently. We kept coming back to this exact shot where he's standing in the doorway and it's all white, but then off to the side here, it's this dark wall, and him standing in the light as opposite to the dark. It was almost like a yin and yang thing, but it was him as this dark figure in the bright of this environment, but the darkness is just on the other side and it's right there, and those two are next to each other. And that was a visual representation of this whole episode being light versus dark and contrast of one experience versus the other. And it was just, there were a lot of moments like that where the way that they framed it, the way that they shot it was really fascinating. And I really enjoyed that. And I love that we saw Buck at the end. I love that they ended it on this simultaneously horrifying and uplifting moment of he's being brought into this prisoner of war camp. We know it's going to be horrible, but those moments of he's getting to see these men that he thought were dead, that he knows they're all looking for faces that they know, and then for us to see Buck and see Buck theoretically healthy and alive and smiling and there, that's a wonderful moment. But then to pan out and see this entire camp, to see this entire thing, and you realize how many men are there, and you think about all the horrible things that can happen there. And similarly, I was thinking back to episode 9 of Band of Brothers, because we see them being loaded on this train and seeing this train full of what supposedly looks like civilians going by. They're women and children, they're people screaming, and they're specifically screaming in German. Because had they been screaming in English, you would have assumed more prisoners of war. I mean, how there would be women and children there, you don't know. But the fact that they specifically had them screaming out in German, these American soldiers are standing there wondering, what the hell? What the hell? Because as we established in Band of Brothers episode 9, they didn't know. They had no idea what was happening. And that was what hit me so hard in that episode, was there was no mention of concentration camps up to that point. We hadn't heard anything, and you kind of almost forget about it because you're just following this individual experience. But to have that moment of them wondering what the hell, because they don't know. That was hard. And just the fact that they threw the body in the train with, and the recurring theme of prayer right before Bucky escapes and he's on the back of this truck and the man barely alive with him is praying. You can hear him reciting, I think it's the Lord's Prayer or the Last Prayer or something like that. And then the parallel of that to the story that these men are telling at the very end about how they're flying in, and the one thing that they're told is a prayer. And that's sort of being your last hope. Like that's, yeah. And then bookending the episode with Crosby saying, you cope however you can. At the beginning, he's talking about men would drink, men would sleep around, they would do all sorts of different things to cope. And then to bookend that at the very end of him saying, we told stories, some were true, some weren't, whatever you had to do to get through it. That was interesting. I stand by, this series is getting better and better and better. I have loved it from the beginning. I mean, you guys have watched. I've genuinely believed from the beginning that this is a good series, but I also agree that it's getting better and better and better, and it's building more. And so I look forward to more of it, but I'm also absolutely terrified because this has been just such a roller coaster experience of this is simultaneously so great, and my film brain is like, yes, give me more, and the emotional side of my brain is like, stop doing this to me, please stop doing this to me, I can't take this anymore. Oh, this is such a weird experience. I cannot describe to you guys how weird an experience this is. So, all right, I'm gonna leave it there, but as always, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode, on this series, and of course on the whole franchise of Band of Brothers, Masters of the Air, and the Pacific. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, then the entire series of Band of Brothers is already on Patreon, and I'm posting those on YouTube. I've also started the Pacific on Patreon, so if you're interested in watching that, it'll come to YouTube eventually, but for now, it's just on Patreon. So if you're curious to check those out, please do. Redder is better except when it's a Nazi flag. So hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button depending on your browser, and check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction, as well as all of my other content, and links to my Instagram and other socials are in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you on the next one.